Hello, Rivermen and SPHL fans, and as always, welcome to the video and thank you for watching. It's very much appreciated. In this video, we're going to talk about candidates for Goalie of the Year. I'm going to check in with a few goalies, especially with the top teams, see what their numbers are, where they're at, to possibly win Goalie of the Year, and talk about a few dark horses that I wouldn't put in the conversation yet, but has to be the potential to be put in the conversation for Goalie of the Year. I kind of touched on this a little bit with a post last evening, and gave my thoughts on who I think the top four candidates are. And obviously, a day later, I still stand by who the top four are. But that don't mean another name can't work its way into the conversation. There's definitely some good goaltending going on in the SPHL. And obviously, you got, your defenses and your team defense that can definitely help a goalie's numbers out. I mean, no doubt about it. Just like a bad defense can affect your goalie's numbers, so can a good one. So it works both ways. It's a two-way street with that. So you got to take that into consideration, which is easier said than done. But when you look at their numbers, I think four of them really stand out on Goalie of the Year, and two of them are on the Peoria Rivermen. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Rivermen fan. If anybody else was making this video, they would have to include those two. Otherwise, the list is automatically invalid. I mean, the only thing they're not really leading in is games played in minutes. And this ain't the most games played award. This is Goalie of the Year. So it's all the numbers combined that you have to consider, what they mean to their team and their individual performance as well. So with that being said, we'll jump right into this. And I am going to start with the Rivermen goaltending. Both Jack Bosted and Nick Latinovich have had outstanding years for the Rivermen. I know I've been critical of Tino from past performances, but when you look at his numbers, it's amongst the best in the league. He leads in a lot of statistical categories, and if not for, his goalie mate there, he might be the leading candidate for this. I still, for my money, would have to say the best goalie passing the eye test, what he means to his team, and his overall numbers. For me, Jack Bosted is the best goalie playing in the SPHL right now. Yes, he has the least amount of games played amongst the candidates, but just like I said, this ain't the most games played award. This is Goalie of the Year. The problem with Jack and Tino when it comes to this award is they're on the same team. They very easily could take votes away from each other. That's kind of the downfall of both of them having that type of season, is they're going to take votes away from each other. So that is tough. But like I said, for my money, I would still have to say Jack Bosted is playing the best hockey in the SPHL right now. Only one time this entire season, out of the 19 games he's played, has he allowed more than 3 goals in one game. One time he allowed 4, and he still won that game against Quad City Storm, and that's the most goals he's allowed this season. He's only, out of the 19 games played, he's only allowed 30 goals against. That's fewest in the league. That's still a pretty good number considering, he's only allowed 11 more goals scored on him than games played, which makes for a great save percentage and goals against average. He's got 3 shutouts on the season, 12 wins, 5 losses, and 1 overtime loss, no shootout losses. He has 576 shot attempts on him. So out of 576 shot attempts, only 30 have found the back of the net, which is an incredible stat, obviously. His goals against average is a league lead, 1.62, and his save percentage is a .948, which is also tops in the league. Now, again, we talk about team defense. Rivermen do have a great team defense, not just a great set of defenders, an overall team defense goalies do benefit from. Without a shadow of a doubt, I will not argue that point. They do benefit from that, but it also doesn't take away from how good those two are performing right now. I mean, obviously, letting only 30 goals go in the net, that's not all team defense. He actually plays goalie. So, 576 shots he's stopped and only allowed 30. So he's doing his job and doing it the best in the league, in my opinion. And Nick Latinovich right behind him has 24 games played, so 5 more games played. And that's because Jack Boston has taken 2 call-ups this season to 2 separate teams. Not super long stints. I think he had less time than Colby Muse last year. Colby Muse was gone for a month and a half last year with the Rivermen, and he still won Goalie of the Year. So like I said, this ain't a games played award. Otherwise, Colby Muse wouldn't have won last year. So, Nick's got 5 more starts. He's got 1 more shutout than Jack Boston with 4. He's got 672 shot attempts on him and has allowed 45 goals on the season, which is still great. 24 starts, only allowing 45 goals. That's still a great number. His goals against, or his record is 16-8, no overtime losses and no shootout losses for Nick Latinovich. His goals against average is a 1.91, second best in the league, only behind Jack Boston. And his save percentage is a .933, second best in the league, only behind Jack Boston. So, like I said, both these goalies have been playing lights out. I will say, I believe Nick has let in a few more leaky goals, if you will. I don't, soft sounds derogatory, and I'm not trying to disrespect Nick or any goalie on this list. But rather you want to call it soft goal, leaky goal. I do believe he's allowed a few more of those than Jack Boston. He's got a few games where he's allowed 4 more goals against. So that's why I rank Jack above Nick Latinovich. Even though Nick, on the same team has played more, I would still give Jack Boston an edge. Especially if Jack doesn't take another call up this year and stays with the Rivermen and gets in more games, keeps doing what he's doing. I think Jack Boston is definitely a strong candidate to win this. Again, just a shout out to both goalies fortunate to have both playing well for us, and wish them nothing but the best. Number 3, Kristen Stead. This guy has had probably a career year for him personally. He's playing outstanding with the Thunderbolts. Better than I thought he would do. He's winning more consistently than I thought he would, and he's tougher to score on. More tough than I thought he would be. He leads the league in games played. Not a shocker, because that's the one thing with Coach Best with the Thunderbolts, is he'll play his starter to the death. Probably plays the backup the least amount out of any team in this league. So he definitely rides his starter. And Stead has benefited from that with his playing time. He himself has faced 970 shot attempts, and he has only allowed 70 goals against. Now that's 40 less, or 40 more, not less. That's 40 more goals he's allowed than, say, Jack Boston. But yes, he's pretty much, he hasn't doubled up Jack in games played, but he definitely, like by 14 or 15 games played. So, you got to keep that in mind when I say he's allowed 40 more goals than Jack. He's got 3 shutouts on the year. He's got one against the Rivermen. His record is 20-10, and he's got the most wins in the league. No overtime losses, but he has 4 shootout losses, and that's the most in the league. He has the most shootout losses in the league. So I will say, but again, like I said, he's played the most. His goals against average is a 2.02, which is 3rd best in the league behind the Rivermen goalies. And his save percentage is a .928. Again, 3rd best behind the Rivermen goalies. Like I said, if you take Rivermen goalies out of the equation, I do believe Kristen Stead is the favorite to win Goalie of the Year. And it's not just because of the games played. I mean, for the amount of games he does have play, he's still yielding good numbers. He's close to a .93 save percentage, just barely over 2 goals, 2.02. So, I mean, his numbers are still great. And that's why I would put him probably right behind the 2 Rivermen goalies for sure. That's a good spot for him. And if it's not going to be a Rivermen goalie that wins it most likely will be Kristen Stead as of right now. But that's not to take away from the other candidates. We still got other candidates on this that have something to say and wants to put their name in the running for this. Just like Brian Wilson. I've always had a lot of respect for Brian Wilson. I know he's a very talented netminder. He's got 33 games played on the year, 2nd most in the league, just behind Kristen Stead. And he's got the most shot attempts against him. In the entire league, he's got the most shots against him. He's got over 1,000 shots, 1,009 shots attempted on him, and he's allowed 76 goals. So 6 more than Kristen Stead, who has 2 less games. Again, we talk about team defense and defenders. The 2 best teams when it comes to who they got playing on defense and overall as a team defense, including the forwards, that's Thunderbolts and Rivermen. They are 1 and 2 in goals allowed, best in that department. Rivermen are the only ones that are less than 100 goals against. They have 86 goals against as a team. And like I said, number 2 is Evansville Thunderbolts. They've just allowed over 100 goals against at 101. Like I said, the only team doing better in that department's the Rivermen. So, for my money, that's the 2 best defenses in the league. And Stead and the Rivermen goalies definitely benefit from that. And you look at the Huntsville Havoc side, they've allowed 114 goals against. So that's why I would say those 2 are a better team defense than Havoc. I think Havoc has got good defenders playing defense, but overall as a team, they're not as good as the Rivermen or Thunderbolts when it comes to playing defense. And I think the shot attempts show that. The total goals against show that. And like I said, Brian Wilson has 2 less games than Kristen Stead and less minutes played. And 970 Kristen Stead and 1,009 for Brian Wilson. So, like I said, Stead and the Rivermen goalies definitely do benefit from a great defense. Wilson is 16-12, 4 overtime losses, most in the league, and 1 shootout loss. He's got 3 shutouts on the year, and his goals against average is a 2.32, and his save percentage is a .925, which is 4th best. Both the goals against and save percentage is 4th best in the league. So that's why those guys were my top 4 last night that I have listed. When you look at the overall team, what these goalies mean to their team, you gotta have these 4 as the most likely to win that award. If there was a goalie of the year, it would be Jack and Nick. I mean, if you could give the award to both of them, you could make the argument. They're 1 and 2 in the league. They have plenty of games played, and they're the only ones that are under 2 in goals against average, and the only one that has a 9.3 save percentage and above. So, I mean, and combined, they got 7 shutouts. Now, like I said, yes, they benefit from a good team defense, but these are great goalies. You could try and take that away from them, but you can't. I mean, their numbers speak for themselves. These numbers is not all about the Rivermen and how good they are on defense. This is about how good those 2 gentlemen are as well. And like I said, if you're ever going to give the award to 2 goalies for co-winners, I mean, you can make an argument for Jack and Nick to be co-winners to that award. Now let's talk about some dark horses that can throw their name, right in this conversation if, they play well down the stretch. And I'm going to start with my main guy here, Steven Muddinger. I love this guy. I've talked to him on occasion, met him a few times after games and talked to him. I absolutely love this guy. He is such a gentle giant. Like, he's just a really cool dude, fun to talk to. I always root for this guy to be successful. I do think he's a great goaltender as well. To me, I would put him at number 5 right now, on the outside looking in for the conversation of goalie of the year. He's got 28 games played right now. He's faced 951 shots, and he's allowed 66 goals. So he doesn't have a whole lot less games played than Wilson instead. And he's allowed less goals, faced a little less shots, but not by much. He's 14, 10, 1, and 2 as an overall record, and he has 4 shutouts in the league, which ties for most with Nick Latinovich. His goals against average is a 2.43, and his save percentage is .931. I previously said only Jack and Nick were above 9.3. That's not true. Muddendinger's a .931. So I think he is one of those dark horses that can definitely sneak up on you and be in the conversation for goalie of the year for sure. Like I said, a great netminder, and as far as team defense goes, that he's with Knoxville, not the greatest team defense, not the worst. They're middle of the pack. The other teams that I've mentioned definitely got a better team defense. So, I mean, he's a great candidate, and he could sneak his way in the conversation rather easily. There's 2 more goalies that, technically 3, but these 3, I don't know. I just don't see them getting in the conversation. Doesn't mean they haven't had great years or good numbers, but they're more of an honorable mention than actually getting their name in the conversation. And we'll start with Josh Boyko with Macon Mayhem. Also love that kid to death. I love watching him play. He's a very underrated goalie, very talented. He's got 30 games played for Macon Mayhem. He's got a record of 13, 12, and 3. He's faced 866 shots and has stopped 68 of them, which is outstanding. And he's got 1 shutout on the year. His goals against average is a 2.44, and his save percentage is a .921. Maybe he can enter the conversation for goalie of the year if he keeps up. It's going to be hard for him to win it, though, and for being honest, it will be tough for him to win it. But that doesn't take away from the season he's having. The other guy, I gotta toss his name in, even though I'm not a fan of him. I still respect his talent, and that's Austin Rodebush. 25 games played. He's got a record of 13, 8, and 2. 724 shots against, allowed 56 goals, 2 shutouts. Goals against average is 2.36. And a save percentage of .923. I mean, like I said, yeah, if he plays well down the stretch, his name can very well be thrown in there. But I wouldn't put money on him to win it. Just saying. And last honorable mention, got to shout out Zane Steves. Now, I honestly believe he has 0 chance to win the award. But, look at the team he's on. I mean, that team defense is not good at all. It's really not that good. One of the worst in the league. So, you got to consider that. I think Zane Steves has had a pretty decent year. I still don't think he's as good as Brent Moran, talent-wise. Again, that doesn't mean he's doing a bad job. But I do think Brent Moran has, would be better off than Zane Steves starting. It's just Brent Moran has a horrible attitude. And I'm not a big fan of his either. I'm more of a fan of Zane Steves. I like Zane Steves better than Brent Moran, personally. But I think Brent Moran is a touch better. He's got 31 games played. He's faced 854 shots, allowed 72 goals, 1 shutout on the year. He's 13, 13, and 3 on the year. Goals against average 2.52 with a .916 save percentage. So again, not horrible, but I just don't think he's gonna put together a season that can honestly put his name in the conversation for goalie of the year. So that about wraps it up. Those were my shout outs and who I think have a strong chance at winning. Unfortunately, as much as I love the guy, I do not think Colby Muse is going to win the award. Doesn't mean he's not a good goalie. He's got less games played than Jack Boston at 17 for starters. I mean, he does have decent numbers, but I mean, he's really had no support in Fayetteville. Fayetteville has just been historically bad this year, and I feel bad for goalies like Colby Muse and Mason Beaupit. I do believe they are better than what their numbers indicate. Rick D'Amato, Mateo, whatever his name is, you know, he's been called up. He's got 16 goals. I mean, when he was here, he played good, but, you know, realistically, no. You know, you can't really put his name in there. But, yeah, that about wraps it up. Let me know if you agree with who I got. Like I said, right now, if I had to vote right now, my vote would be for Jack Boston. I really do believe he's the best goalie in the SPHL, means the most to his team when playing, and I think his numbers indicate that. He has less games played because not only does he split time with Latinovich, he also took 2 call-ups. So, you know, that's why he has a little less minutes and games played than the other candidates. And like I said, Nick, I mean, you can't take nothing away from Nick. Runner-up goalie of the year. Yeah, he's, you know, he's going to get some votes. And I think that's going to take some votes away from Jack, but I don't think he'll get enough votes to actually take this award away from the likes of Jack Boston or Kristen Stead. But I could be wrong on that. Like I said, and it's nothing against Tino on that. And like I said, if you told me to pick a goalie outside of Riverman who I think's the favorite to win it, it probably would be Kristen Stead. Just his numbers are outstanding with this team. I think he might be performing better than Cole Ceci, in all honesty. I would be terrified to face this team in the playoffs. With their team defense and the way Kristen Stead's playing, I don't want to say it, but, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but can you say back-to-back champs? It's a legit possibility, guys. If this team can keep up what they're doing and keep playing the defense the way they're playing it, instead can keep doing what he's doing, they are not going to be an easy out. Especially if they get right now in second place and have home ice advantage. Good luck. They're tough to beat in Evansville. I promise you that. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining me in this video. It is very much appreciated. It's one of my longer videos, 30 minutes, but we had a lot to discuss. And I hope you stuck with me throughout the video. And if you did, again, thank you so much for doing so. So with that, I'll catch you guys at the next puck drop, and I always keep it Riverman. I messed that up, guys, and I always keep it Riverman style. Catch you on the next one.